Try saying in public that monarchy is a good idea. Watch the faces. Watch the eyes widen, the eyebrows rise, the physical discomfort of someone hearing that word as though it were a blasphemy in church. Monarchy. It sounds like a fossil, like something from a museum, a black and white documentary, senile grandparents pining for the past. And yet, no. Look at the map. Pick it up, that map, and tell me what you see. The wealthiest countries in the world, the most advanced, the most civilized, the ones where people live best, where rights actually function, where the streets are clean and the institutions still mean something. Denmark, Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands, Japan, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Spain, Belgium, the Principality of Monaco, all monarchies, every single one. This is not a coincidence. This is not a quaint accident. It is a fact. And facts, as we know, have no need to be likable. The oldest democracy in the world is a monarchy. The nation that built the most vast empire in human history is a monarchy. The country with the most generous welfare system on the planet is a monarchy. Sooner or later, someone will have to explain to me why we continue to treat this form of government as a medieval relic when the numbers say the exact opposite. But let us come to history, because history is always right, even when it hurts. France, 1793. Louis XVI mounts the scaffold. The crowd roars. The blade falls. The head rolls into the basket. And France begins to die. Not immediately, of course. First comes the Terror, then the Directory, then Napoleon, who was a genius, but also the living proof that when you remove the king, you end up inventing a dictator. Then the Restoration, then another revolution, then another republic, then another coup d'etat, then yet another republic, and another, and another. Since 1793, France has changed its form of government more times than a normal man changes his car in an entire lifetime. 5 republics, 2 empires, 2 restorations, a chronic instability lasting 2 centuries, all born, every last drop of it, from that January day when they decided that cutting off the king's head was an act of progress. To cut off the king's head is to cut the root. It is to sever the bond with everything that came before you. It is to say, we begin from nothing. And those who begin from nothing, at nothing they remain. Now look at the English. They too had their grand moment. Charles I, beheaded in 1649, and then Cromwell, the Protectorate, a Puritan republic, gray, dreary, without festivities, without theater, without music, a deadly boredom dressed up as virtue. How long did it last? 11 years. 11 years, and then the English said, enough, give us back the king. And they placed him back upon the throne. And from that moment, they built the greatest power the modern world has ever known. The British Empire, the language we all speak, the parliamentary democracy half the world has copied, the law, commerce, the navy, all of it built beneath the crown. The English had the intelligence to grasp something the French never understood. The king is not the enemy of liberty. He is its guarantor. Because the king does not stand for election. He makes no promises. He buys no votes. He does not lie to be re-elected. He need not please anyone in order to govern. The king stands above the fray. He is the fixed point, whilst everything else turns, shifts, agitates, falls apart. A president lasts 4 years, 5, 7. Then he leaves, and with him goes everything. The symbols, the colors, the tone, the direction. Every time we start again. Every time we dismantle and reassemble. Like a piece of IKEA furniture no one ever quite manages to finish building. The monarch, instead, remains. He is the thread binding grandfather to grandchild, the last century to this one, tradition to the future. He is not a government. He is a continuity. He is the guarantee that something will survive the next election, the next crisis, the next scandal. But there is one point that matters more than all the rest, and no one ever speaks of it: sacredness. Institutions need the sacred. They need it like air, like bread, like the silence before a prayer. When a king is crowned, it is not merely a man receiving a title. It is a rite. It is a gesture that plunges its hands into 1,000 years of history. The oil upon the forehead, the crown placed by hands trembling under the weight of what they represent. Ancient words spoken in languages no one uses in daily life any longer. The people watching and feeling, even without understanding, that what is happening before them is greater than themselves. The Republic killed all of this. It replaced the rite with bureaucracy, the ceremony with the press conference, the sacred oath with an inauguration speech lasting 20 minutes that no one will remember the following day. We stripped the mystery from our institutions and then marveled that no one respects them any longer. We stripped the beauty from power and then complained that power had become vulgar. Because monarchy is beautiful. It is beautiful, and that is that. The royal palaces are beautiful. The uniforms are beautiful. The ceremonials are beautiful. The crowns, the scepters, the thrones, the ermine mantles, the processions, the carriages, the guards who change with a precision that is already poetry. Beauty is not an accessory. It is not an aesthetic whim. Beauty is the visible form of order. It is the proof that someone took the trouble to do things properly, to give power a shape that is not merely efficiency, but also grandeur. Look at a presidential palace. Then look at Buckingham Palace. Look at Versailles before the revolutionaries stripped it bare. Look at the Imperial Palace in Tokyo. Look at the Crown Chapel in Prague. There is a difference that cannot be measured in square meters. It is measured in soul, in centuries of care, of devotion, of attention to the smallest detail. Monarchy built the beauty of the world. Republics built concrete tower blocks, public offices with plastic chairs and fluorescent lights that hum. Modernity chose ugliness and called it progress. It chose the provisional and called it democracy. It chose oblivion and called it freedom. But the crown endures. Even when you cannot see it, even when you think it a relic, it endures there, above the heads of those who still believe that to govern is not merely to administrate, but to safeguard. That power is not merely a contract, but a divine covenant. That history is not merely the past, but living blood coursing through the veins of a people. Long live the monarchy, not because it is perfect, but because in a world that has lost all form, all ritual, all sacredness, the crown is the last gesture, reminding us what it once meant to do things with grandeur.